We gotta talk about some pull ratio data for those of you curious about the Blue Eyes structure deck. And make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. So this is from Top Table Gaming. Now, they opened up 5,000 structure decks, which is going to be a master case is going to be 96 of these. Now keep in mind, they listed 30 of each QCR on TCG Player. And we pulled as high as 2 in a master case, so that would put you at 96 divided by 2. That would put you at 1 in 48. Now, there were also some other cases as low as 0 in some master cases. Okay. There's also a good amount of clumping between the three. Now, Top Table Gaming did honor all of their pre-sales for every QCR that they had pulled, and they just didn't get what they expected to out of those cases. So that's a lot. 5,000 divided by 96. That's a lot. Now, if you want to do the math really quick on this, you want to be like, I'm assuming that these stores were paying $8 a structure deck times 5,000. This is a $40,000 investment out here of what they actually pulled. Now, obviously, $12 times 5,000 is 60 freaking grand. So, I mean, they had a leeway of probably making about 10 grand on that amount of structure decks, which isn't too terrible. There's some insight for you that you normally don't get the chance to get out here with it. So they did honor every pre-sale that they could, which is not a bad thing, by the way. Kudos to them doing the best that they could to honor all that they could honor based on pull ratio. So we got an interesting case here, everybody. We got a case of 1 in 48, 2 in 96, which is the same thing, but you've also got a variant swing of there might not be any of these in these cases, which the fact that clumping is as bad as it's being portrayed here, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But I'm also very curious to know, how many other stores, plowed through all of these Blue Eyes decks out here, to get, 15,000 copies of Sage, 15,000 copies of Blue Eyes. I'm curious to know how many of these are going to be opening out here in doing this. Now, keep in mind that this is Konami's first time we're going to do an insert pack in a deck that has a potential for a higher rarity. I do think they need to do this moving forward. I know QCRs are done after, May, but sincerely, Konami, the fact that you not only provided the community with some really good staples, you gave us some secret rares, and then you went even further beyond that and said, hey, we're going to put chase cards in these decks. These chase cards have 0 effect, by the way, on what is already available in the deck. So this is just Konami going, hey, you're going to get some extra rarities. They're finally adapting that OCG mentality that they've been doing. For those of you that don't know, the Japanese structure decks out here have, what is it? It's like a +1 or a plus pack in there, where you get the ability to get these cards in potentially higher rarities. And of course, they've been doing this for so long out here. The OCG rarity upgrade pack in these structures, most of the time, I think those packs were usually built into our decks themselves. And Konami was like, well, we're not going to offer any extra, nice things to you. No, they've changed that with the Blue Eyes deck, and I'm really hoping that they keep this model of things going forward out here, because it increases more stores opening up the decks, which, I don't know if you've noticed on TCG Player, but there's been a good chunk of these listings for these decks going, hey, it's just the deck without the plus pack, and it's a couple dollars cheaper, actually. So if you're one of those people, it's like, maybe you don't want to spend the absolute mad amount of money on, 3 decks. Maybe you just want to get the 3 without the promo packs. That's fine. You can go with that. Saving a couple dollars is saving a couple of dollars for people that just don't want to deal with the extra fat. I don't think it's great, or I'd rather just go buy 3 decks and have the nice things for myself. But there are people out there that do think like that. So, in terms of your ratios out here and the long-term broadcast or forecast for this, couple things to consider here. I do not think that this deck will have I don't really think Konami can do a reprint on this. And if they do a reprint, it will not have the QCR potential pull in it. You got to remember, Konami said, we're done with QCRs after this. And I don't know if that's going to affect potential reprint equity, because, you got to think about it like this. All the Rarity collections all had first editions, and they could reprint those at any time and do an unlimited run. The problem here is when you're looking at the structure deck, they reprinted the first Blue Eyes deck into the ground 3 times. All right, there are so many of the unlimited wave of that Blue Eyes deck going around. It's crazy. So how are we going to handle a QCR that's floating around in these cards? Are we just going to restrict it to the first print of the deck? That's a big thing to be thinking about out here when you're looking at picking up these decks right now, because that's going to affect future equity on this thing. There's going to be a bunch of people out here that are going to be picking up these decks and just wanting to keep them sealed out here, because this is one of the solid best products that Konami has made in a very long time. So I think that's a big question right now. If you are wanting to pick up some of these to hold, or just, to convince yourself to want to pick up in the long haul. One, how's the future looking for possible reprints for this deck in the future, depending on, the QCR policy, even though, they're not technically reprinting it, just a QCR within the same product. Will Konami consider doing something like that? Because this thing says Blue Eyes Frickin' White Dragon on it. They're going to milk this. There is zero reason for Konami to do that. You're locked in for this structure deck to be popping off everywhere for potentially, or at least I would say hopefully, the next 3 to 6 months. You want this thing to be available in circulation. So that's a big thing for long-term equity. But now that we know ratios and things, $100 on some of these QCRs is not looking bad. I'm going to be upfront honest with you. I know a few people are like, I'm not spending $100 on this. Well, okay, sucks to suck, I guess. You weren't meant to get the rarity upgrades. You're not meant to QCR out this deck. They did this. That you have the secret rares. They were like, hey, if you want to upgrade beyond ultras, you've got secret rares. Congratulations. And if you are one of the whales out here, Konami said, hey, we're going to make this extra challenging for you. You can go buy, upwards to, what is this? Oh man, I don't even want to do the math. Is it 96 times? You're going to need 3, 6, 7 QCRs. So let's do 6 master cases. You'd have to open up, I think, 576 decks. 576 decks times 12. It's about 6,900 and potentially $12 to try to pull these yourself. No thanks. No thanks. Why would I spend $7,000 trying to pull this when, expected market value, 450 plus 450 plus, 150? It's $1,000. It is easier to buy these Gashran cards than try to pull them on the secondary. So I am curious to know where prices are going to go. It's Blue Eyes Frickin' White Dragon. We know that stupid things happen with Blue Eyes. You've got an idea of what's going on with this now. You have an idea of, we talked a little bit about the possible reprint policy with this set. I do expect probably an unlimited print of this to slam into the market at some point. But I'm also curious to know if they're going to take out the QCR for this. That's what I'm curious about. I am very, very curious to know what Konami's got planned for that one. Because the sky is the limit for what Konami can do for obviously they said they're not going to reprint QCRs in QCRs, but what happens when we're past the 25th and Konami wants to use some of that reprint equity to reprint, an unlimited rarity collection? Just saying. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I will see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Peace out.
Patrons, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.